to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's go. Be free with me. Be free. Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free. Be free.
We are here. Welcome to CRUSHIN COVID Daily. I am your host, Nathan Amaral. Again, I'm wearing the shirt. See, in television or in any video, you shouldn't wear striped shirts. Either way, horizontal, vertical, couldn't do it. But I was trying to match. The couch today and the carpet. But it gives us weird effects. Anyway, we're here, guys. Welcome to CRUSHIN COVID Daily. It is, what is it, May 21st. After a while during lockdown, you just get so confused at what day and time it is. But we're here. Doesn't matter. Let's do it. And I am really excited about today's show today because we have a special guest and friend. My buddy Paul Kirch is going to be on the show today. That's going to be a great time. Paul is actually been a good friend of mine for many years, and I'm actually going to leave the introduction to him. He's going to be on a little bit later on today, hopefully. I'll tell you why. After all the traveling and, one thing, a foolproof way I have my appointments booked for me is I have it in a calendar. I use a calendar software called Acuity Scheduling, and it automatically tracks my clients' time zones and my time zone, and I don't have to worry about a thing. But if I schedule a meeting on the fly, like just in a text message or an email, I can pretty much 80% of the time tell you I'm going to get the time zone wrong because where I'm always traveling. My computer sometimes is in a different time zone. My phone's in a different time zone. I'm in a different time zone. And it also depends on where I'm at because it always gets confusing. Well, today I organized him coming on the show an hour from now. But I think I reconciled myself and said, hey, man, whenever you're ready, I messed up on the times. I apologize. If you can get on a little earlier, then great. So he will be on the show maybe just a little bit longer. This show may be a little longer today. So if you're looking to stick around with us, that'd be awesome. Normally we've been going for 1 hour, but this show might be 90 minutes today. We'll see. But we're going to have Paul on a little later today. Guys, this is the CRUSHIN COVID Daily Show brought to you by yours truly, Nathan Amaral. I'm the creator and founder of Fearless Millionaire. You can check us out right there on YouTube on the screen below. Fearless Millionaire is a brand, one of my brands, and that helps real estate investors gain clarity, confidence, and cash flow. I got to put this on a little later, guys, because I'm just like not feeling it. When Paul comes on later, I gotta put on my. By the way, these things are amazing. But when Paul comes on later, I have to put my AirPods on. By the way, these are literally the best Bluetooth wireless earbuds I've ever had in my life. It's the Apple AirPods Pro. I was gonna say like version generation whatever, but it's the Pro, and they're a little bit different. They have like a different more like a, what do they call those? A pillbox shape. The other ones were a little bit longer. This one's a little bit wider and still opens the same, except the quality of sound. And also the design is a little bit differently. It's a little bit different. But the design for the AirPods itself are a little bit different. They're shorter. They have this rubberized, which you can change the rubbers. You can make them small, medium, or large. And there's different sizes there. So the other thing that's really cool about this is the what do you call it? I don't know if those are like air ducts or I don't know what they are, but there's 3 of them. There's one there, one under, one on the side. Yeah, there's a bunch there. But I'll tell you what, for sound quality, it's insane. It's like night and day. So my other AirPods, I used to have the first generation of Apple AirPods. I actually had 2 of them. I had 2. I had 2 of the same kind. I had the first generation times 2. And that was because I would be on the phone so much, and it was kind of annoying because I jumped from 1 hour call to another 1 hour call, and they would be dead. So then it would be pointless. So I had 2 sets. And then I switched to these, and it works beyond a 1 hour call, lasts about 2 hours without a charge, and they're really great. I love them. So I haven't needed a second set yet. Hopefully it doesn't get to that because I'd like to just keep it minimal to just one. But these are phenomenal, and the case charges really quick. This does have the wireless. This is like a tech review. I'm doing like a tech review right now. It does have the wireless charging capabilities, but it also has the lightning port right there. Not USB-C, but regular lightning port that is available on this model. So it's really great. The noise cancellation on those are insane. Like you can literally just click the noise cancellation and it is completely quiet, like shockingly quiet. And then another cool feature is the transparency, which I really like because with just another click, you can immediately hear what's around you. So if you didn't want to take them out of your ear and just, you can still hear people. It's so impressive. It's really great. So yeah, literally the best earbuds I've ever had. Yeah, I did a whole review on those also on our YouTube channel, which is down below. Get over to our YouTube. You can simply just type in Fearless Millionaire. We are the one and only exclusive channel on YouTube that has the word Fearless Millionaire. So we'll pop right up. Subscribe to the channel so you can be notified. Subscribe to be notified of the new training videos that we have coming out. We got a bunch coming out for June. It's going to be great. We're going to have a bunch of real estate tips and tricks and strategies that's going to help you grow your real estate investing business. No matter where you're at in your business, we'll help you out. Fearless Millionaire is a brand that helps real estate investors gain clarity, helps them build confidence, and gets more cash flow by taking action in a specific strategy in real estate investing. And that's what we do. That's who we are. That's who I is. If you want to get to know more, by the way, if this is your first time, I know we have a bunch of new people that view this, even on the replay, and you leave comments, that's great, but post new if this is your first time here. Post new in the comments below. Or if you've been following along already for a while, just say hello, hello in the comments below. That way I can say, hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? You know? So do you remember in The Office? Do I have any Office fans here? Do I have any The Office fans? I'll tell you a little bit, but I restarted the series, and I think it was like episode 2 where Michael Scott comes out and he's like, "What's up?" Right? He's doing that whole "What's up? What's up?" And it was like, I mean, think about that. That commercial was like 20 years ago, and he was doing that in The Office, and it was like 10 years prior. It's amazing how fast time goes by. If you like The Office, post it in the blog. I gotta know if you're an Office fan. I'm an Office addict. Seriously, it's been declared. It's an you're officially an Office addict when you join a group on Facebook that has to do with Office addicts. Seriously, and it's to that level. But it's like the only good show that I enjoy. Like, I've tried other shows and I just don't like them. I've tried. If you have a show that you like, please post it in the comments. Post your favorite show. I would love to know what it is. Hey, Courtney, good to see you. Yeah, or see your comment. Yeah, hope all is well. Thank you so much, Courtney. Yes, good to have you here. Thanks for stopping by. And all is well here. And I'm hearing, I think you're in South Carolina, right? You're in South Carolina? Courtney, where are you at these days? But yeah, I hear that the Carolinas is starting to open up again, so which is fantastic, which is great. Remember, just stay safe. Wear your masks, people. Wear your masks. Mandatory. I'm seeing videos where people are just randomly going out without a mask. I think this is great. I really do. I'll tell you why. Maybe I'm a germaphobe, but maybe not. But I wash my hands probably like 20 times a day. So, you know, because I don't know what it is, but after a while, especially after I'm touching my keyboard and my trackpad, I wash it down. I have they're over there, but I have wipes. I am like meticulous when it comes to my keypad and keys. I'm just like super clean. So even like the fact that people are more conscious about going outside and, you know, covering their mouths or at least washing their hands, like this can kind of get annoying after a while. You know, this can definitely get annoying after a while. But the washing of the hands is really good because, yeah. And I never liked shaking everybody's hand. Like, you know, like especially like growing up in business, politics, you're like, you got to shake everybody's hand. But, you know, what's up, Aaron? Oh, and Mrs. Sardina, good to see you here. Good to have you here. Awesome. You guys together? Are you guys together right now? By the way, Aaron, post your favorite show below. You can't, is it The Office? I don't know. So, you know what I find so disgusting is because, honestly, this is a disgusting moment. Cover your ears. Cover your ears if you don't want to listen to this because I'm about to get gross, okay? So, I can't tell you how many times I go to, like, a public restroom, and there I am, you know, after I'm doing the duties, washing my hands, right? And one guy goes out the door. 2 guys go out the door. 3 guys, however many guys go out the door without washing their hands. It's so annoying. It's just horrible. There's been moments in my life where I have heard and seen men in a stall and they walk right out and I've yelled, not in a bad way, not in an anger way, but I'm like, don't forget to wash your hands, you know, because it's just so gross. Like, give me a break. So now that, like, you know, so that's, I think, a positive thing about COVID. Everybody's more cautious about washing their hands, about, you know, great, let's do it, you know. It's on another level. Sarah, welcome. You are a fan. Fantastic. All my office people unite, but not like that, man. You are a little over the top. Yes. So going back to The Office, I am seriously an addict. So I've tried other shows. I have, believe me. But I'm seriously probably on my 10th time watching The Office. Like probably the 10th time. And that's over the course of when it came out. So I started watching The Office when it first came out. It's, you know, whether it was like an episode a night, because I love how they're short, they're only like 20 to 30 minutes. I love it. Whether I would watch it, like, I don't know about you, but there was a time in my life, there has been times in my life where I would go to, and I would go to bed, but I could not go to sleep. And it's not because I was like, oh, I'm stressed out, you know, thinking. I just have a really good way of going to sleep during a movie, like professionally. Like, I'll tell you this story. Oh, that's awesome. Great. That's great. You're visiting your mom. Thumbs up for our moms. Moms are awesome. And I was actually just talking to my mom, and it was kind of funny because I was talking to her, but she didn't know how to do an airdrop on her phone. And it's like, I can't get stressed out about it because I'm trying to help her with an airdrop, and that's no problem. I'll do it. But I can't get stressed out about it because I know, like, 25 years from now, my son is going to be like, dude, dad, you don't know how to beam it with your eyeballs? I'm going to be like, what are you talking about? You know, so I have to have patience because I know in 20, 30 years from now, we're going to be able to, like, you know, whatever, with our hands and touch our eyeballs, and all of a sudden something's going to happen and I'm going to need help. I'm not going to know how to do that. So I'm going to FaceTime my son. Hopefully it will be around during that time. I don't even know if it's be my son, but probably more than likely my daughter Brooklyn, because she's like super into, I mean, I've seen my daughter already do things on Apple TV that I didn't even know were possible. I'm like, oh, you could do that. So that's when you have that moment and you're like, oh, kids, yes. So guys, I feel like I've just shot in 7 different directions all at once. Going back to The Office. Oh, so I used to so I'm a professional sleeper, like, like during movies. So you don't want to take me to the cinema because don't treat me to the cinema, even though I'd like to treat to a cinema. You could do that sometime. But honestly, going to the cinema for a movie, if it's not a horror movie, if it's not horror, I will fall asleep. There was a time, I want to tell you a story. There was a time that I went to a cinema. I think it was a Batman movie. It was like Batman and whatever. And I remember I was like, maybe there was a few people inside of the cinema. So I go in, I was traveling, and usually when I travel, I always hit up a movie theater. And I was in the front row. Yeah, there I am, these reclining seats. It was awesome. It was like, oh, this is gonna be great. And I'm sitting down front row, looking up at the screen. I love it. I didn't even get past the trailers. And I was out. Had a big bag of popcorn on the side of me. Out. Didn't even wake up. I woke up. I didn't even wake up. The cleaning staff woke me up and said, hey. And I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? They're like, you gotta go. I'm like, I just got here. I'm like, no, the movie's over. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. No, I said, no, seriously. I looked behind me. Everybody was gone. The lights were on. I seriously slept through the entire movie. The next thing I was thinking, like, gosh, was I snoring? Like, I don't even know. I literally slept through the movie. You can take me to any cinema movie. I can guarantee you I'm going to sleep for like 15 minutes. I pretty much know when I'm going to fall asleep. It's just a thing I have. So anyway, when watching The Office, sometimes I'd watch it like one episode just to make myself fall asleep. Like, just like, oh, put on an episode, I'm going to sleep, right? But also I find it's like scriptures, right? It's like when you read scriptures or you read a book that you really like, you can read it once and you're like, wow, that was great. Wow, that was awesome. Wow, that was really good. And you remember those moments. But how about when you go back and you read it again and you're like, oh, I never saw it that way. That's really interesting, right? That's how I feel about The Office. When I go back, I start seeing things in a different way. And I sometimes I forget jokes that they say, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was so funny. I remember that. That was great. So, sorry, today's gonna be one of those very busy days. I can tell I've had like phone calls prior to going live today. I have 3 closings that are happening. Cross our fingers today. Hopefully everything closes. You know, guys, the title companies, attorneys, escrow companies have all been backed up the past well, COVID shut everybody down. But now it's like they're starting to come back to work, but they're all backed up. So I'm trying to close 3 deals in a week, and we're on Thursday. That's not going to happen. I could maybe two, maybe two. So let's pray for two. So that's how I feel about The Office, guys. Is that I can watch it over and over again. But more importantly, maybe I'm an oldie when it comes to this kind of stuff. But I remember years ago, before The Office came out, I was watching Everybody Loves Raymond. And I loved the show. I had it on DVD. Someone bought it for me. I forgot who. They bought me the whole DVD set. And that's all I would watch because it was a good show. It was clean. It was funny. And today, I don't know. I just find it very hard to find like decent shows, like decent, nothing like too, I don't know, based on my beliefs and values. So that's what I enjoy. And I have no problem like watching the show with my kids. You know what I mean? It's not something I have to have like, oh my gosh, my kids are in the room, right? So it's something like that too. By the way, guys, we're having a giveaway, which is not approved for kids. Fearless Millionaire right down there, right there. It's bouncing right there. The Fearless Millionaire giveaway, what we're doing is we are giving away 5 lucky winners a chance to win in our upcoming training that we have starting in June. We're going to release the dates and everybody to the winners, but it's going to be in June. And all you have to do is go to that website and you have the opportunity to win. It's whoever wins the most entries, the top 5 people who win the most entries. We now have over 30 people who are entered to win. And the person who gets the most entries, you can actually get multiple entries if you come back to the entry page. So when you go to that website right there, and by the way, if you want to know like a step-by-step on the website, it's pretty simple. But I've showed it in previous episodes of the CRUSHIN COVID show. Go to that website, you enter to win, follow the instructions, and then you can come back tomorrow and the next day and the next day, all the way up until May 30th, the end of the month. And you can re-enter to win to increase your chances of winning. It's a really cool thing. And everybody's like competing. I can see these numbers like growing every day. So it's awesome. I'm looking forward to making that happen. It's really a great training. We've actually done this training multiple times, but this time we're doing it on a whole nother level because we're adding in group coaching. Ooh, we should have like a little, group coaching. There we go. Yeah. So we're adding a new element to it because it really is impactful. We've noticed that as we've added more elements of detailed help along the way, that people are getting more results. For example, one of my clients just made a deal, closed on Wednesday, I think it was. Got everything signed, everything. It's probably closing at some point this week. It's probably like this week or next week. Anyway, everything's signed. We just got to wait for title company because title gets, is a little back and forth. But the profit on the deal for him, $27,000. Say it with me. $27,000. Yeah, so happy for him. Really excited. Now, what other updates? Sorry, I'm just checking my notes. We have Paul. Paul's going to be on the show today. If you don't know Paul, he's really funny. He's a good guy. He's funny to me. I think he's funny. He's going to be on the show today. It maybe, possibly, hopefully, if we can get him on. I think he will be. We're going to have him on the show today, and he's going to be sharing his insights. Paul's a really smart guy. One, he's smart because he's a consultant. No, wait. But no, he's a really smart guy. He's been a consultant for many years in sales and in marketing. He's built a few businesses. And I think one of them he sold. I don't want to do his intro for him, but one of them, I think one of his companies he sold. And one of the cool things about Paul and I is we've connected on multiple levels because he is a consultant, but his knowledge and what he's done in his industry, really powerful. We've also consulted in sales together, which is really cool. So he's going to be on the show a little bit later today. Also, I want to let you guys know if you have any questions in regards to real estate investing, you can post those in the questions. Also, I am going to go over, as soon as I grab my notes up here, here they are. I am going to continue a little bit of what we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, we were talking about what motivated sellers are. Like, what do they look like? What type of problems do they have? What is a motivated seller? What defines a motivated seller? And if you want to go check that lesson out, you can do that. But I will give you just a quick recap, not a long one, a short one. This was our notes. This was our notes from yesterday right here. Yeah, that's our notes from yesterday. I'm not going to erase it. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. But here are 24 motivating factors that are considered a motivational factor for someone to sell their property urgently or because of a problem. Remember, as a real estate investor, you're focused on problems, right? You get properties with problems. Now, this most of the time, like people will check the MLS or work with an agent on buying a property. You're not going to always get the best deals that way, because normally when people think on our agent, the first thing they're thinking is, well, they're going to pay the agent fee. Like the agent has to get paid, right? So immediately, like, and agents usually want properties that are like fixed up or look a little better. They're going to ask you to, do certain things to the property. Sometimes agents won't even list your property if it's not a certain type of condition, right? So, and then there's some agents that are investor mindset, and they're willing to either post properties that are completely need rehab, willing to work with investors. Just so you know, the majority of real estate agents do not work with investors. They're more on the retail side. So real estate agents are good if you want to sell a property and hit the masses. But also in tomorrow's episode, I'm going to show you a way you can sell a property without an agent and still be on the MLS and sell your house, which has been done, which I have taught my clients to do, and they've done it, and they are very happy and successful about it. I should actually probably do an interview. That's a good idea. Hopefully I can get my client who's an interview on that and tell him his experience and how he's done it through my coaching and helping him make that happen. So the reality is, when it comes to getting a great deal, remember, in real estate investing, you make your money on how much you buy the property for, not what you sell it for. So it's always you make money on the buy and how much of a discount you get it for. As you can see here, I showed you in my example that if a property, this is like that's like an old example, but if I was to restate what I was saying, if you bought a property for $100,000, if you bought a property that was $100,000, but if the property is worth only $102,000, do you have a profit? Well, I told you yesterday, no, you don't have a profit. You think you have $2K in equity, you're wrong, because you forgot closing costs, right? Just closing costs alone is going to be over $2,000. So you didn't make a profit. The way you make a profit is over here on this side, is if you buy the property at 60K. Okay, you buy the property at 60K. Guys, let me just change this up, right? Watch this. Let me add a 1. Say it's 160K to make it more realistic, because I know some people, when I was buying property and flipping property in Massachusetts, there was no properties that were 60K unless they were half built. But even in when I've done this in the Carolinas, I mean, I was buying properties for, I think I told you this in one of the stories. I bought a property for $10,000. That was probably one of the cheapest properties we bought. Oh no, well, wait, stop. No, one of the cheapest properties I ever bought was for $6,000, but it was completely there was nothing going on in the house. I mean, it was completely gone. The front door was hanging by hinges. It was really bad. So that was a little different story. But you can buy properties a lot cheaper, is my point. So let's just say we change the ante here. We make this 260. Let's just say that, right? Let's say the property is worth 260. So if you have a value of 260, but you bought it for, let's put B. This is not easy to do with a trackpad. I need to use my pencil. That'd be a lot easier. But say you bought it, or purchase price, you bought it for 160, and then the value of it was 260. Well, what's the remaining equity in the property? What's your value right there? Well, you walk into the property with 100,000. Okay, 100,000. If you had to put 30K into it, let's say rehab work needs 30K. This is crazy. This is crazy. You think my art is good? How is my art? How is my writing going out here? 100. So if we subtract the 100K minus the 30, right? What is that? 70, right? So you get where I'm going here, right? You understand the difference here, because you got to put money into it and then the value. So there's also what's called ARV. I'm not going to jump all into that right now, like after repair value and all that stuff, but you get my point that you need to buy it at a discounted price based off the value, what it's worth. If you don't do that, you're not going to make any money. So how do you find properties like that? Well, they're right here behind all this mess. You see all this mess right here? See all this writing going on? That is how you're going to buy a property cheaper with these kinds of issues, whether it's estate sale, vacant houses, someone going into retirement, bankruptcy, title problems, liens, bank-owned properties, death in the family, job loss, divorce, failed rehab. How about properties that were starting to be fixed up, but they never got finished, right? That's another factor, right? These are a lot of factors that people do face and that people go through that gives you the opportunity to solve the problem. Okay, so that's where you're going to be able to solve the problem in those areas. Now today, I want to continue what we were talking about, getting these properties and how do we approach them, right? How do we get in touch with them? You heard me talk about direct mail, doing a letter, right? Or if you're going to use business cards, we talked about that a few days ago. But we also want to talk about more ways that you can get that people to call you. Remember, there's two types of marketing. There's push marketing and pull marketing. Push marketing is when you are communicating with someone, you're knocking on a door, phoning a person, texting them, messaging them, emailing them, right? That is where if you're like, hey, do you have a minute? Knocking on a door. Hello, is the neighbor here? Do you know the owner? Right? That's all push marketing. When you create ads or letters or a Facebook ad, a YouTube ad, Google ads, right? And you create marketing that pulls people in, says, hey, they raise their hand. Like, hey, not like mentally raise their hand, okay? Like, hey, I'm interested, right? I want that. That's called pull marketing. And what you really want to do, you want to be in a position where the majority of the time in your business, you want to be doing pull marketing. That's really important because then you're really identifying the exact people that want your product or service. If you find out, if you discover that in your life and in your business, you're constantly, maybe you're not closing deals, maybe, the leads are not converting, then it's probably because you're not doing enough pull marketing. If you always find yourself like on the hunt, then it's because you are not doing pull marketing. Don't get me wrong, they both work. They do. I've done both for many years. But the better position to be in is when you don't have to do the push marketing, right? Because no one likes a pushy salesperson, right? Nobody likes that. What you want to do is be attractive. You want to create attractive marketing, okay? That way people are coming to you and saying, what do you have? I want that, right? That's the position you want to be in. That's the ultimate position. And then the best position of all is when you have systems set up. I need my water. I'm over here touching it, unbottling it, but I'm not drinking it. But the best position you want to be in is when you can actually make a sale without even like taking the time to communicate with someone. Whether it's a face-to-face meeting or an over the phone or video, where it's just completely, they come into your funnel or they respond to your marketing and they take action on whatever it is you have. That's the best part. So, and that's of course what all people will aspire to in marketing. So I have some examples. Remember, guys, I was trying to find my business cards the other day and I was like, oh, let me show you my old business cards. Well, I still couldn't find it, but I do have some example business cards inside of my training course, which I will show you here right now. Where is it? They would look something like this on the front and back right here. Let me turn this around. Now it's under classified ads. I'm trying to find exactly where the business cards are, but you could run classified ads this way, or you could also have a business card this way. And I know it's somewhere here in the training, but in this program, but it would basically say, we buy houses, cash or terms, any condition, situation with no hassles, we close faster, something like this. Now, over the years, guys, this is training that actually the same type of marketing I got from my real estate coach many years ago. Today, I don't use this exact verbiage. I don't have to, I don't need to. I've used different things. For example, I know my buddy Gary one time has seen signs. I remember him sending me this picture where it said wife buys houses, right? So this type of marketing, though, what it does is it creates someone who is maybe in that tough situation, right? Remember those motivational factors. It says, oh, I need to sell my house, right? But now, guys, this is a very broad marketing, okay? This is still very generalized. We buy houses is very generalized. The parts that really pick up on people's minds is any condition, any situation, no hassles, we close quickly. That is the most important part. right? Need to sell, we have options. So any condition with no hassles, right? Those are the words that really get people who are motivated to call in because they're in a bad situation. Maybe they don't want to work with a realtor because they don't want to fix up the property. Maybe they don't have the funds to. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe they don't want to pay a realtor's commission fees. Maybe the house is decently okay, but they don't want to pay commissions. So that's why this verbiage is really important because it attracts what the people are thinking. Listen, the most important part of marketing, the best marketing, I want you to write this down. It's really important. It's a saying by Robert Collier. It's actually one of the books I recommended just a few weeks ago in this show. But Robert Collier said a very powerful statement. He said, marketing, great marketing, should be continuing the conversation that your prospect already has in their mind. That's all marketing is. It's continuing the conversation that they already have. The problem, okay? So if your prospect has a bad back, I always like to use the bad back as an example, right? They got pain in their back, they got pain, they wake up sore, right? All this stuff. And all of a sudden, there's an ad, a radio ad, a TV ad, an ad on their Facebook, wherever. And it shows, or it is an audio, whatever it is, and it says, oh, did you wake up with a bad back today? Still sore from last night's, last night's sleep or whatever, right? You understand the point. Maybe you've seen this on TV to someone who's like, and their back is hurting, right? That's already communicating to that person who has a bad back, like, oh my gosh, that's me, right? This ad is speaking to me. I have a bad back, right? So that's continuing the conversation. And a lot of times the way you can do that in marketing is by asking a question, either a statement or a question. In this marketing right here, this is a statement. This is called statement marketing. And that's where you'll have someone where it says the solution, right? Oh, this is the end result solution. We're going to buy your house. You could do we buy houses, I buy houses, whatever it is. Your wife buys houses, Sally buys houses, doesn't really matter. As long as it says the solution, right? The solution, cash or terms, okay? Any condition, any situation that solves a problem. They don't want a hassle. That solves a problem. Closing fast. They have a desire to close quickly. And here is what's called the CTA. CTA is called a call to action. You need to tell them to do something. If there was no phone number here and there was no website, right? If there was no website at all, or if there was no phone number, guess what? People are just like, well, who do I call? What's going on? The call now is a call to action. Does that make sense? Another thing here, I just want to show you this a little bit differently. See how it says call 24 hours? I'm going to tell you why this is important. Depending on where your ad is, if it's on a classified ad and it's at 12 o'clock 11 o'clock at night or 2 in the morning or something like that, some people may feel like, oh, are they open? Should I call them in the morning? That kind of thing, right? Well, if it's 24 hours, that's great. They probably are already thinking that this is going to go to an answering machine, which is exactly right. And it exactly should go to an answering machine. So if you have someone calling you, right, you should, and even if it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there's two ways to do this. If you have business marketing, if you don't have someone like an intake caller, a receptionist, or someone who's taking calls for live leads, then you have to send them through a process. You shouldn't just be there like, hello, right? That's your personal time. They haven't gone through your marketing funnel. If you're just randomly, like if that was my personal cell phone number, my phone would be blazing up. Like that would be insane. I'm doing all this marketing and it's just my cell phone all day long. After a while, I'm going to get burnt out. And don't get me wrong, guys. How do I know this? Because I did it. When I first got started in real estate, I bought 150 signs and I bought over 200 door knockers and a bunch of business cards, like 500 business cards, and it all had my personal cell phone number on there. Why? Because I want everybody to talk to me. That was a bad idea back then, but I didn't know it. So what happened was my phone just immediately exploded as I had all this marketing going on. I could barely keep up. Calls were coming in, day out. And it was just overwhelming. But if I had sifted and sorted my clients correctly, my prospects, if I had sifted and sorted them correctly and taken them through a process, then I would have gotten probably less direct calls and I would have talked to more of the people who needed my help right away. So this is like a great start, but you just want to be more specific in your marketing when it comes to how you're going to get them down. Now, those are more intricate details. That's stuff I work with my coaching clients one-on-one, and where we set up these funnels. Like one of my clients I was talking to yesterday, making amazing progress. I mean, we're talking 30 flips a year. We're talking fix and flip deals a year, I believe, if I have the numbers correctly. Anyway, we're going to a whole nother level, but they've made a whole bunch of progress in just, less than 2 months. I mean, they've cut down, I call it trimming the fat, right? Trimming the fat in business. And when I'm working with my strategic clients, this is where people who are doing multiple deals a month, five deals a month or more, running $1 million business operations. When I work with my clients in this way, what I really focus in on is little changes, little tweaks. We just adjust a few things here or there, and it makes a really big impact. For some people who are just getting started, it's just, well, hey, I need to get my mail out. I just need to do direct mail. I just need to order my business cards. I just need to get my website up, right? So it all depends on where you're at. I love working with both types of clients. I love working with, my clients who are my strategic clients, where I'm really focused in on making small adjustments in the business. Sometimes it's human capital, it's working with their team. And sometimes it's software and just making those minor tweaks. And then when I'm working with my clients who are just getting started, which are, I don't want to say that my favorite, but I like having, this is the best part. Let me tell you something. Let me give you the difference. The real difference about, okay, hold on. I just want to make sure Paul is not here yet. Okay. The biggest difference about working with one of my strategic clients and someone who's just getting started is my strategic client is not as jazzed or happy about making like $20,000 or $15,000. Okay. To them, it's like, no, I need to make $150,000 to $200,000 a month because I have payroll, right? So it's a very different mindset. So when I'm working with a startup client who's just getting started, it's their first deal, it's their first offer, first under contract, all that stuff. It's just so exciting when they can actually close their first deal and make a chunk of money. Actually, I have a client that's closing a deal. We just closed it today. I think it's closing today or tomorrow. What's today? Thursday? It's closing tomorrow. Another client of mine closing a deal tomorrow. She's making thousands of dollars on this deal, and this is the second deal I've worked with her to close on. I'm so excited for her because I just remember the first deal that I helped her close. She was so excited. I walked her through the whole process. She says, Nathan, this is the best coaching I've ever gotten from someone who actually takes the time, and you actually called my title company. See, I do those things. I do what's called AB, okay? A and B, above and beyond. Because most of the time, what happens, unfortunately, in this real estate industry, okay, the guru industry, as I like to call it, the gurus tend to just tell you, like, and get you to dream big and make you think all this is going to happen in 30 days or less. And then they will just sell you on their training program and go on. C'est la vie, I'm out the door, right? They got to sell home study courses to live their lifestyle so you can be impressed. I take a very different approach. My approach is, yes, I practically give you the training for free. Like the training and the how-to, I give it to you. When I'm working with you one-on-one, it's detailed. I'm going to show you step by step how to do it. And sometimes I do it for you so that you get insight. Also, people who are in my inner circle, I actually show them and they're going to hear me do calls. I'll give you an example. I helped one of my clients raise money about 2 weeks ago during COVID. I showed them, I jumped on a call. They had, this gentleman, my client, had someone that he wanted to raise money from. So it was one of his contacts. And that contact was interested. So while we're on the phone, I did the presentation for my client and I showed him because he never raised money before. So I was showing him how to do it. I said, hey man, you're just going to listen. You don't have to like chime in or interrupt me or anything like that. I'm going to take control of the call. You're going to introduce me. I'll jump on the phone and I'll show you how it's done. And then when I ask you to come in, you start, talking and all that stuff. We did it all remotely. We did it all virtually. I was sitting out on a balcony, not here, at another location, sitting on a balcony, having the phone call. And they were remote. They were also in 2 different states. So got on the call, did the whole entire presentation. Wasn't too long. But out of that call, that person my client's contact had over $100,000, was verbally committing over $100,000 to the next investment. And as we wrapped it up, after we wrapped it up, my phone rang right after that. My client was ecstatic, like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you did it. That was so incredible. That was amazing." Those are the moments that make all my depression go away. Those are the moments that make everything else better in life. When you hear that moment and you're just like, wow, that's powerful. That's impactful. That's really why I do this business. I always tell people that there's two reasons why I'm in this industry and why I do what I do. Number one, my real, if I could say it correctly, it's like dyslexic, reading left, right. I don't know what's coming first sometimes, but real estate is my passion. I'm passionate about real estate. I love it. I love everything about it. I've been doing it for years. So it's something I'm passionate about. I can talk about it for hours. I'm not really a speculative person, so I don't like to speculate the market because my ex boss, no, my good friend who was once my boss, Steve Lindahl, once taught me. He said, "Don't worry about the market. Focus on what you're buying the deal for." So it's always about, because there's always going to be deals in any type of market condition, right? In any type of market condition, you're going to have deals. Whether it's a bad market, whether it's a good market, there's always going to be a motivated seller. Because right, but what happens in situations like COVID, for example, the motivation gets a lot higher. What does that mean? There's more motivated sellers, so there's more opportunity. And then when the market is like drying up, or there isn't a really, there's not a pandemic going on or a recession, but there's always going to be people who have a motivational reason why they need to sell, just like the ones I showed you today a bit and yesterday. That's always going to be going on. So what does that mean? There's always going to be deals. There's always going to be deals. So what you have to do is you have to be in the market. You have to start your marketing. You have to let people know you do what you do, right? What you do, what you do. Otherwise, if you don't tell people what to do, or you don't have marketing on your behalf, there is an image that I want to show you guys. I wish I could find it right now. If Paul was on here right now, I would turn the controls over to him. I'd find this image. You know what? I'm going to find it for tomorrow's show. It's a very powerful image. And in this, I don't want to explain it. Come back tomorrow. I'm going to show you how powerful it is. And it's about marketing and branding. And it's a really powerful thing. It just, when you see it mapped out this way, it's really important. So I'm going to make a note and I'm going to provide that to you guys tomorrow. Let me do that here. Da, 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 da. Okay. I want to show you guys that tomorrow. It's really powerful. And so you have to get your message out there. That's really important. If you don't have your message going out there, then it's going to be a bad situation. It really will. You'll be struggling in business. You have to be constantly marketing. One other thing my Dave Lindahl taught me. I remember the first day I had just come out of the single family market industry, right? I was just coming out of that industry. And one of the things I was doing, I was always, door-to-door marketing, all this stuff. But as soon as I had this first meeting with Dave, I remember being in his office and he's like, "Okay, the first thing I have to tell you before you get started today is you're not in the real estate business." And I was like, "Okay, I just came out of single family real estate. I just stepping into apartments now. And you're telling me I'm not in the real estate business." And he's like, "Yeah, you're not in the real estate business. You're in the marketing business. And once you understand that, then you're going to be really successful." And I was like, "Okay, well, I thought I was successful." But then he was like telling me, "No, you're not successful." That's what he was. He always had a knack for telling me, like, "You think that's good enough? Do you really think that's good enough?" And that was the interesting part, what is going on? What is going on? Oh, shoot. Oh my gosh. I've really overbooked everything today. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. So, okay. Sarah, I have to give you an update. I got to do it. I'm going to tell everybody right now. I have to do it. I have seriously overbooked and messed up everybody's schedule today. I'm going to tell you that right now. So I apologize. Sarah, because of the time zone difference, I told my previous person today that Or you know what? We could do it. No, I can't. I can't. So Sarah, I apologize. I am running behind, and this is insane. Um, whereas, how should I have to move things around? Yeah. Thank you so much because my this is running over into the next session. So if you could give me some few minutes, and I messed up. You know what it was? I messed up on the time zones. Completely messed up on the time zones. So I got like a time zone mess going on right now. Anyway, we'll work through it. I appreciate you bearing with me because we will work through this. And hmm. Hmm. You have, yeah. Sorry, Sarah. You know, let me ask you a question, Sarah. Do you have Skype by any chance? And if you have Skype, Sarah, do me a favor. Send it to me send me your username on Messenger. So if you have Skype, Sarah, just send me your username that you use on Messenger. Perfect. All right, Sarah, this is what we're gonna do. This is what happens on live TV. You just gotta go with it. Send me your Skype in Messenger, and I'm gonna bring you on right now. That's what we're gonna do. That's how we do it here. Sarah, while you're doing that, what I'm going to do is just finish telling everybody my passion is real estate, but my calling in life is consulting. And I absolutely love consulting. It's a calling in my life. It's like if I didn't do consulting, I wouldn't feel fulfilled. It'd be like I probably would have jumped off a building already. But it's like you have to find something that fulfills you, otherwise you get really depressed. Because if you have no calling and no desire in life, then guess what? You just feel like you're plateauing. You feel like your life's not worth anything. You're not. It's just a nasty feeling. It really is. So what you want to do is find a connection to what you're doing, and that way you can feel more fulfilled in your life. Yeah, it really, really is. Clint, thanks so much. I appreciate it, guys. I'm just going to take a quick drink break, and I'm going to get Sarah on board here. Sarah is about to come on. So great. A little bit of a change of personnel, but we're going to make it happen. I'm going to take just a quick break. I'm going to just play a video for y'all. How about that? Let's do that. And we'll be right back in just a second.
So I was outside cleaning my truck. Yes, I still clean my truck. Lo and behold, FedEx comes, and guess what's inside? Let's see here. Oh yeah, my first check, you guys. Can you see that? $34,000.
You can do this! I believe in you! All right, give yourselves a round of applause.
With the Fearless Millionaire program, and before taking the program, I was having trouble being comfortable on the phone, knowing what to say to people, and just putting more money in my pocket. And I can honestly say,
I am a fearless millionaire.
You can do it. Don't give up. You are fearless millionaire. Yeah, it's right now. This is a video right now. Hello. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, like this.
Jangan tinggalkan
millionaire.
I am a fearless 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 millionaire.
You can do this. I believe in you. You can do this. I believe in you.
All right, guys, we are back. Let's go.
I'm a fearless millionaire.
I am a fearless millionaire.
Sorry about that. Hitting wrong buttons here. But we're back. Thanks so much for taking that short break with us. We got two special guests for you today. So there was a little bit of confusion, completely my fault, because of scheduling and time zones and all that good stuff. So at first, we're going to have, hold on one second. Okay, so first up, we're going to have a good friend of mine and real estate friend as well, Sarah Boyd. I always like that. I always like Boyd because I've heard that name so many times. But Sarah Boyd Taliban is going to be on in just a second. I am waiting for her to chime in. We're going to bring her in. We're going to talk a little bit about obviously some real estate stuff and what she's been working on. And she also has, she's also an agent in the market. So I wanted to bring her on the show so that she could share with us a little bit about her insight and what she sees that's happening in the market as well. And because, it's good to get different perspectives of people in the market and what's happening. So let's see here. Let's see if I can pull her in right now. Let's see. Nope. We're just gonna give her a few minutes here to get on. Boom, 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 boom. Technology. It's one of those technology things, right? So, how's your Thursday? How's your Thursday going? What plans do you have for the weekend? What plans do you have going on this weekend? One of the important things that I definitely know we have to do is we have to have our handy dandy AirPods on, because when you're doing an interview and you got speakers, you want everything to flow in here and not any reverb or echoing going on. So let's make sure those are connected. There we go. Sarah is here. Great. I'm going to give you a call, bring her on video. Yeah. Ooh, boom, boom. You know that Skype sound? I think I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear it, so I'm like dancing to this own beat right here. But let's bring her on. Boom, boom, Is there a way I can play this sound for you guys? Nope. Okay, Sarah, you gotta pick up. Pick up, Sarah. Sarah, do you want to pick up your phone? Can I answer? Oh, yeah, I can answer. I was calling you and you're calling me. I guess we're calling each other. Are we trying to call each other, Sarah? Here we go. Here we go. Okay, you have to reduce reduce the volume on your side because I can hear myself, and that would just be like, whoa, that'd be a big mess. All right, and now I don't see you. Are we just on audio? No. Okay, do you have any earphones? Well, but first of all, I can't even see you. Like, is your video on? Oh, we're connected. We're live, everybody. Yeah, we're connected. We're live, and two things. One, your video is not on. I can see my video on. And if you have a headphones, that would be fantastic, like a headset or earbuds, something. Yeah, no problem. Great. Dun, 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 dun. But you know what's interesting is, no, it's fine. Take your time. I'm trying to figure out. Sure. Yeah, you can hear me? Okay, how about your video? You have your video on? No, I don't see you. I just hear you. Okay. No. No, this is what you get when you don't when I don't pre-test things before going live. That's all it is. Can you go in your Skype? Yeah, you can. If you're on Facebook, you probably get off that, but if you get on Skype and there's the video button there at the bottom, there's 3 different buttons. There's the circle for the microphone. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Not sure. It's no problem. Yeah. Yeah, I know. The only thing is, for some reason, I don't know if it's on. I'm gonna guess it's on your side, but I am. Let me ask the audience. By the way, audience, can you hear Sarah right now? I know you guys can hear me while Sarah's trying to get her video on. Post in the comments if you can hear Sarah. So yeah, you got it. You need Charlie? Okay. Let's try this. Oh, so you guys are apart from each other? All right, so so why don't we do this? Why don't we okay, if you go, you're on Skype, right? Okay, so there should either be 3 buttons at the bottom of the screen that says the microphone, the camera, and the telephone. Okay. You're, the only other thing I would think of is be under preferences. That's the only other thing I would think it would be. How do you normally do your screen shares, Sarah? How do you normally do it? Okay. Do you ever use Zoom? Do you ever use Zoom? Okay. Let's do this, Sarah. Let's reschedule our time together, and I'll send you a Zoom link, and we'll do it that way. Does that make it better? Yeah, I think oh, okay. Yeah, but you know what's happening? I think what's happening is your video and audio is not coming through because of your permissions. So I don't think I can hear you, but it's not broadcasting completely all the way through. That's what it looks like. So I think what we can do is sorry about this, but we'll reschedule it. No, it's both. It's on me as your computer. Let's blame your computer and blame me for the time. But we'll do a Zoom. No, that's okay. So what we'll do is we'll schedule a time again, and we'll do it on Zoom, and then we'll do it like that way. That'd be a whole lot easier. And we'll do it live, and we'll do it through Zoom, and that way people can ask questions that way. I think that'll be a lot easier. All right. Yes, you too. Talk to you soon. See you. All right. Okay, so yeah, that was interesting because we have it's kind of interesting because I think her permissions was not allowing the sound to come through in the video, so that's unfortunate, but let's see what we can do here. Okay, so all right. Well, our next guest is going to be coming on in just a few minutes. So we're just going to keep rolling on, aren't we? We're just going to keep going through. Wanted to address a few things before we continue, and we will get Sarah on in the near future. Next week. By the way, I don't know if you guys could hear, but she did say next week. So we'll try to do that. We'll do it on a live, and we'll make sure everything's set up properly. This is actually the first time I've ever also brought someone in on an interview. So we will make sure that we get all that hammered out. It's not going to be a problem. All right. Clint, it's okay. It's no problem, buddy. Hope to see you soon. It's not a problem. Thanks for joining in. All right. Fantastic. Great. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to continue where we left off before at the top of the hour, before we were transitioning there to Sarah. I'm going to go over a few more things before we bring on Paul Kirch. And okay, so one of the things I want to continue what we were talking about here is targeted marketing. Targeted marketing is a very important thing in your business, because it narrows down the niche of the people that you're going to be talking to, okay? It's very, let's say, targeted, specific, very detailed marketing. Even to the point of the person that it's going to and what situation they're in. So for example, like we shared earlier about some motivating factors, when you have a pre-foreclosure, that would mean they have a financial situation and they have a deadline to correct it, right? That would be someone who's in pre-foreclosures. This is actually how I got started when it came to starting in real estate. I went after pre-foreclosure leads, right? So that's one avenue. Next is vacant or distressed properties. Either it doesn't have, they either don't have the money or repairs, or it's detached, or they've detached themselves from the property, which means that they're no longer around. They could have moved and they're just not interested, right? So there's those situations. Building code violations. Maybe they don't have the money to do repairs and they've tried and they're tired, of getting phone calls and fines of building officials. Another way you can identify this, like for example, if you're seeing, it depends on the state and the county and the color, okay? Because sometimes you'll see these stickers on doors, okay, from, building officials. And when you see these stickers, sometimes they're yellow, sometimes they look a certain type of way, and it's going to be different for every state. So you'll identify those in that market, in the market you're investing in, because then you'll be able to see, hey, if there is a violation or notices, right? Anything, they either get posted on the door. So you get familiar once those are being posted, then there's some problems going on and it's escalating, right? Those problems are escalating. Also, again, out of town owners. Maybe it's an inherited unwanted house or an absentee landlord, right? And also for land, sometimes people inherit land and it's, in a whole other state, or they're out of state, or maybe they bought the land. I got my hand up here. Maybe they bought the land, sat on it, and waited for the market to come back, and it still hasn't. So there's a lot of people who bought land maybe at the the recession and was hoping and praying that it was going to come up quickly, but then it hasn't, right? So there's a lot of people, and maybe they're tired of paying taxes or HOAs. So those opportunities also. Then there's expired listings. This is where the seller has now given up on the opportunity of working with the agent for selling their home, right? Selling the property. They're just giving up on them, and they either are going to try to sell it themselves, or they're going to get a new agent. Majority of the time, they get a new agent. And hopefully next week when we jump on the line with Sarah, I want her to she's going to cover some of this stuff, and she's also going to talk about what it's like right now being an agent in this marketplace. And she's also going to share an opportunity with you that she has, immersed herself in, and how much she's grown as an agent. So she's going to be covering more of the agent side of things. She's a really great person. That's why I wanted to bring her on. Just a little time difference here. But I wanted to bring her on because I wanted her to talk about the agent side of the real estate investing business. So she's going to be doing that next week. So we got something to look forward to now, don't we? Yes, we do. Free and clear houses. Free and clear houses means there is no mortgage on the property. They're completely free and clear. Okay, that's the term, a real estate term. Free and clear, no mortgage on the property, no debt, title's free and clear. And that means they have equity. Okay. Next is divorce. Okay. Personally, I don't like dealing with divorce leads. I've seen some people that do, but I don't want to I feel like I'm jumping in the middle of a relationship at that point. You usually have to, these types of individuals don't want to wait 3 to 6 months. They want to sell and get out quickly, right? So, but oftentimes, because you're contacting the seller directly, well, guess who has to talk to them? You do. And so you have to hear sometimes, my wife is a this, my husband's a that, right? And you get a lot of that. So I've worked with a few divorce leads many years ago, and I didn't like the situation. However, I do know a few real estate investors who have been through divorce, and they love working those leads, and they can relate to them. Years ago, I couldn't relate to them, and still today I couldn't. I hope I never have to relate to that. But I just don't like those types of leads, so I didn't want that in my mind. So that's something that doesn't work for me. Also, tired landlords. This is a very common thing. Actually, right now, more than ever, I think, with COVID, and from a lot of what I'm hearing, it wasn't true back in February and April. but because we saw people that were making their rent payments on time and everything was okay. But when we're looking at the next wave of COVID, right? We just passed wave 1. When wave 2 comes, right? We don't know, right? We're hearing about stimulus bills right now that are coming into play. We got some stimulus bill. We got stimulus bill number 2 that's just hit the Senate floor. It's probably going to pass maybe this weekend, maybe by Monday. We'll see how that goes. However, when there's phase 2, are people going to continue to pay their rent? Maybe, right? We don't know. Things could get a lot worse before it gets better. Now, if you're looking for like, well, Nathan, what do you think? You know, and I get this question asked pretty often. Like, Nathan, what do you think is going to happen? Well, I say one, we are going to go through a second wave. Okay, there is going to be a second wave of COVID. Not to say that history always repeats itself, but history does repeat itself. So there's going to be a second wave. Unfortunately, there's going to be a second wave. And I think we're starting to see it already happen right now. I think we're starting it up, right? So I know here in Portugal, we've already been under lockdown for over 70 days. People in the West and U.S. citizens have just kind of been in lockdown, maybe 30, 40 days, maybe 50 days. And they've kind of been fighting that the whole time, still going out, not doing social distancing, no masks, that kind of stuff. So the reality is we've been on lockdown where we haven't moved out of our homes. We could only go to the grocery store. We had to wear a mask. There wasn't like, oh, I could just hang out. No, the police were patrolling. Everybody had to remain in their homes. So it was a little bit more intense. So I think what's going to happen now, and as people's immune systems haven't been, punctured in a little while, like it had been a few months, we might see people come back with an increase of COVID in multiple ways. So that's my prediction for COVID. So with that, it's probably going to impact the real estate market and rentals a lot more coming into the future. Hey, you see that? Got some octaves going on here. Do I want that to happen? Not really. That's not what I'm not over here like, oh, I hope, we go to the lowest. There are some things that I do wish would happen. I'll give you an example of what just happened today. If you have an iPhone, Apple just released, let me tell you the version. Apple just released the new version of, and I just updated it today. It's 13.5. So 13.5 just got updated today. And if you don't have it, you're probably going to upgrade anyway. But now this gives the ability for Apple and Google for Android phones. And Apple and Google are now finally working together, as they say, working together. But now they have the ability to track in your device where the nearest person to COVID is. Now listen, this is like, you ever seen those signs that say community watchdog or community surveillance? If you see something, say something, right? This is that on a whole nother level. This is that with technology. All right. Now, by the way, guys, this is already being done over in China, Japan, Taiwan. These types of tracking tools, software, is already been implemented like 10 years ago. This is nothing new. And this is something that I've been like, oh, I wish this would happen. And then people think I'm crazy. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait for this to happen. And people think I'm crazy. But the reality is it was just a matter of time. And now it's here. Here we are. So in your phone, in whether you're going to be forced to do it or it's just going to happen on your next download, but basically they are going to be tracking COVID, people who tested positive for COVID. And when you are in proximity to that person, your phone, you're going to get a notification on your phone that that person has COVID. Yeah. So that is a great groundbreaking way to what's called, what do they call that? I even just forgot. It's social policing, right? Social policing is what's going to happen. Neighborhood policing on a much higher tech level. Because what happens now, this has already been happening in the eastern part of the world, where people literally, I can identify someone on their device that person has COVID or a problem or they're a criminal, okay? I can identify them and report to the police that they just saw them like instantly. So this is actually already being done in the East, not for virus purposes. This has already been going on for 10 years in the East for thieves, bad individuals, wanted lists, stuff like that. Here's what would happen, because in the east part of the world, you're rated on you know how you have a credit score, right? You have your credit score for your finances. Well, in the eastern part of the world, they're giving credit scores on how well they behave, right? So if you behave well and you do well, then your credit score goes up. Your credit score goes up. You have the scoring goes up. But if you're a bad person, maybe you're late on your payments and you're not a good citizen, maybe, you know, a camera caught you stealing or you've been to jail or whatever, you got misdemeanors, right? So if that happens, then your credit score goes down. Also, if you're late on your, let's say, car payment, or you're late on your mortgage, or you whatever, right? Your score goes down. So that system is actually migrating. It's already in place, guys. It's not. I'm not talking about anything out of the norm here. Like, I'm not talking another 20 years from now. This is already here, and it's already there. If you can easily just drive around your neighborhood and just go look at all the cameras that are around. That is all supportive is facial recognition. Facial recognition plus heat detection in the very near future, as we've seen Ford Automotive was I think the first one, that including airports, are now checking if you have a fever. They're doing facial recognition and if you have a fever, so body temperature. So all that's going on all at the same time. All that data is being aggregated, as well as into your phone. You'll be able to help people out by detecting other people that have COVID. So these are all things that are coming. It's here, it's coming, it's growing, and it's going to impact the way people do business and just live their everyday life on a regular basis. So it's really interesting to see. I think the best part is I'm really happy to be alive while it's happening. That's the way I can see it, because years ago, I used to kind of wonder when this stuff was going to happen. I always used to be like, oh man, I hope this happens while I'm alive, because I'd like to see it all play out. And here we are. Even in Uganda, for example, it was just, I think 2 years ago that the government bought, I want to say 2 million cameras. I think it was 2 million. And everybody was like, why do we need 2 million cameras? And Uganda is very, not just Uganda, but actually a lot of countries in Africa are very close tied with China and Europe and what's that other country? Japan, right? They work very well together, especially Europe and the Chinese. They work very closely with all of Africa, but especially also in Uganda. And that's the only one I can speak to because that's what I know. So I remember the government said, hey, we're going to buy 2 million cameras. And everybody was like, 2 million cameras for what? Why do we need all these cameras? Right. And they said, and the proposal was, well, for security purposes, this is going to help make the country more secure and thieves. And yeah, that's true. It does make it more efficient for security, for the police to catch thieves and other things, right? Civil disputes, accidents, all that stuff. It does help in that way. However, it also has the capability and technology to do what is already in place, is facial recognition and heat detection. Now, heat detection is just an added feature, but facial recognition is everything. That's biometrics, facial recognition. And Delta Airlines, my favorite airline, has already implemented this even in the airports. This stuff has already been taking place. Guys, I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but whatever, it's my show. But facial recognition has already been implemented by Delta Airlines, where you can actually just go to the kiosk. You don't need your phone. You don't need a boarding ticket. You just scan your face and you're good to go. This has already been happening with Clear. I don't know if you know who Clear is, but Clear is a service provider at the airport. You give them your biometrics, your face, your eye, they scan your eyes. So when you go to the airport, you don't need to pull out any cards, your passport and anything like that. You just walk into the Clear line, they scan your face, you walk right in. You're good to go. That's it. That's your check-in. Your face, I think they even have an advertisement that says your face is your boarding pass. I think that's what they say. So that's already in place. That's already been happening. And I wish I could get a Clear membership. I mean, I could, but I never got one because, one, they are only in select markets. And two, I feel like I was never in the United States long enough to use it. But now that Delta Airlines is also implementing biometrics in all of they're spreading it out. They already did a run in Atlanta, Georgia a year ago, and now they're expanding it out in all of the other markets. So facial recognition, biometrics coming into the airline industry is going to greatly increase security, and it's going to decrease a lot of the waiting lines, especially if you're traveling, you got to go through all TSA. I mean, it would be fantastic. This is what you tell me. You tell me what you would prefer. Tell me in the comments below what you would prefer. Would you prefer TSA, right? Going through the line, pulling out all your stuff, taking off your shoes, or if you're like me, I use the global entry. Global entry is just like it's a worldwide network where you can actually skip the whole taking off your shoes and all that stuff. But you have to, go through an interview process. So would you rather do that, right? Go through TSA, or would you rather use biometrics and a higher level of security than go through TSA? What would you choose? TSA or biometrics? What would you choose? I would choose biometrics because personally, I think just TSA is just annoying. So I'd rather have biometrics, facial recognition, and security cameras, doing whatever they do, background checks automatically before, rather than have that than TSA. That's my take. I'd love to know what your take is, and you can post it in the comments below. All right, we are just a few minutes from getting Paul on here. I know that was a little tangent there. That was a little bit of COVID talk right there. That was a little bit of COVID conversation, wasn't it? Let's see. Okay. We're going to get Paul on here. And what I'm going to do, guys, I am going to just take another quick little break. I'm going to take another water break here, and we'll throw on some music, right? We got to get some music on here. Got to throw a little music. Where'd it go? There we go. Oh, that's not good. Let's try that.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out.
All right, Paul, you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. What, we got audio. Do you have your video on?
I do.
Look at you, Paul. Welcome.
Hey, bud.
All right. What's up? I'm just gonna give me. Oh, look, we did it. We did it.
I don't know what we did, but I'm gonna say awesome.
Now, let me just try one more thing, Paul. This is my first setup interview. Let me just try something real quick. Hold on. Okay, Paul, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, you're still getting speaker feedback.
Yeah, that's what I didn't want right now. That's what I didn't want. Speaker feedback. I'm Bobby. So, Paul, while I'm fixing this, how you doing, bud? It's been a long time.
I'm doing good. Are we live, or am I just talking to you?
Oh, no, you're... Good. All right, hold on. Just say something for me. Say something. Something. No, I lost you. I just realized that, and I have no other. We're probably going to have a little bit of reverb. I have no audio. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I can hear you just fine. You can hear me? Great. Okay, cool. So, man, how have you been? Yeah. What happened over in Texas for the lockdown though?
Weeks, except for takeout. We really weren't going anywhere. The kids were driving each other crazy. They were out of school, so spent a lot of time. When the kids were at my house, I spent a lot of time helping them with schoolwork. Well, my son was pretty much self-sufficient, but my daughter required a lot of help, and the school wasn't really ready for the shutdown, so they weren't. Her school didn't do a very good job of probably preparing for it.
Oh.
So it was a lot of work.
Wow. So what'd you do with your kids? Are they homeschooled or something, or what you been?
No. Well, they became homeschooled.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what happened.
That's what happened.
No, my son they go to two different schools, and the school my son goes to, I think they were a little more prepared. His school probably has more resources than hers, and her school just kind of did the bare minimum. I think there was a lot of work put on the parents with her class.
Okay.
But
wow.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's been so interesting though, like having I mean, I also want to get into business, but it's been so interesting how, we have already been like basically remote. I mean, you've basically been, remote work how long have you been doing remote work? Because I know you and I both as consultants, we went into clients' offices and stuff, but how long have you been doing remote work?
Well, I had my own office for several years, but it was really just me in the office because everyone else was remote. I've been working from home for the last 3 years, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then, years ago, when I was in an outside sales role, I worked from home, but I traveled a lot back then.
Yeah.
I found that when you don't travel, the home office gets extremely isolating.
Yeah.
Four walls become a little bit
right.
times.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Do you ever tried like co-working offices?
No, I worked in a co-location space for probably 2 years before moving into my own office.
Okay.
So
what do you prefer? Do you prefer your own office or do you prefer co-working?
Well, I like the co-location because you had people in the hallway and in the break room that you could talk to.
Yeah.
But when I moved into my own office, it was definitely much better.
Okay.
A lot more cost effective. I mean, the co-location spaces charge a premium and they upsell you on everything. And
right.
Oh, you want coffee service? Great. You want copier service? Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
You want to stand?
You want to print a paper? $1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, man, I'm so glad you're doing well.
Don't you owe me dinner?
I knew you were gonna bring that. That is like the funniest story I have with us.
Tell your audience that story about what a great friend you are.
No, you should tell everybody the story. Seriously.
I mean, Nathan invites me. Yeah. Nathan invites me out to dinner, and he's coming to town, and he's got a associate with him, and so I'm super excited. I bring my girlfriend along, and then great meal. The bill comes, and apparently the place only took cash, and Nathan just looks at me and goes, "Well, I don't have an ATM card."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, come on, dude. You're a world traveler, Mr. Moneybag. You don't, Mr. Millionaire. You don't have an ATM card." So I did the walk of shame over to the ATM. I think their fees were like $27 or something.
Oh my gosh!
Like that.
Come on.
Maybe not.
Oh no, dude, that was like so funny though because I literally had and I literally don't walk around. I don't carry a debit card when I travel.
Yeah.
And I was just
so Nathan tells this story and he laughs and thinks it's funny. I tell the story. And that was money that could have gone to paying my kids or feeding my kids, but it's all good. I love you anyway.
Oh man, it was a good time. And
it was a great meal though, and a lot of fun.
I'll tell you this though, every time I've visited you in Texas, it's always been a great time. It really has, man. You're an awesome individual.
I would not have drank that night if I'd known I was going to be paying for it. But
yeah, everybody was like piling on drinks. Nathan's buying.
Yeah, exactly. Shots for everyone.
Shots. Oh goodness. So I wanted you to chat. I know you've been working on some new stuff, and I didn't actually want to do an intro to the show too much. I just basically told people that we've been longtime friends and I didn't even tell them how we met. But I wanted you to come on and introduce yourself and just share a little about what you're working on and what's going on. But I will tell everyone what's that?
I said I appreciate that.
Oh yeah,
thanks.
I love I'll tell you later. I'll tell you later. One of the things that how we met. Sorry, one of the things how we met. We met how many years ago? 10, 12, 10? I don't even know.
Gosh, probably 10.
Yeah, about
10
10
years
years ago.
Jeff Walker event.
Yeah, Jeff Walker event. Paul and I met at a internet marketing event from a guy who's in the industry who teaches how to do product launches, and we actually, it was very interesting because he put us in groups before we even got to the event, which was super effective. I thought it was a great idea. So they gave us the contacts and everything. I just started chatting with Paul and then we got on a phone call, and it was like, he's so funny. I mean, he just had me laughing over and over again, and we just became friends since then. And then we met up at the Alive event. It was even better.
I mean, we're in a room of maybe 500 people.
Yeah.
And, they had assigned us to this group, and we'd seen each other on a video call, I think, one time.
Yeah,
We'd done a couple of, it was supposed to be like a mastermind, quote unquote mastermind.
Right.
And we talked on the phone a few times. Nathan shows up at this event, and in a sea of like 500 people, he comes up, "Hey, I found you, Paul." And I'm like, I didn't even know who he was. And then I look at his name tag, and I'm like, Nathan Amaral. Oh, yeah. And so, yeah. And I was there when you got the message from Joy, your wife.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah.
That was the next year. That was the second year.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
Back then, okay, so I see Nathan in a hat and a t-shirt now, and I laugh because back then he was Mr. Three-piece suit everywhere, buttoned up to the nines every day.
All the time.
112 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona, and he had a vest, a tie, and looked like Daddy Warbucks. He was playing the part long before he was living the part.
True. It's so true. I literally.
No, he doesn't care because he's got money. He doesn't care. He's like,
no, but it's so true. Like I wore suits every day. That was the only thing in my wardrobe. That's all I had. So
yeah.
Oh man, good times, man. Good times.
He looked like what was the woman on Gilligan's Island, Mrs. Howell.
Oh, Mrs. Howell.
The luggage he carried. That's Nathan whenever he traveled anywhere, because he had to have 6 bags just to carry all his suits.
Not 6 bags. Come on.
Maybe not.
All
right, maybe.
Maybe 4. Oh man, one thing I've always loved to do, like in the past few years, probably since 2015, maybe, is travel like super light. Like we traveled all over Europe for a few months, and we traveled just with those small roller bags and 2 backpacks, the 4 of us, and it was awesome. I love traveling light now. Now, if I'm having too much, then it gets annoying.
Oh, your life has changed so much since the time I met you. It's crazy to see how you've like transitioned.
Yeah.
I won't say you were uptight back then, because you weren't. You were a cool guy, but you definitely had, you had a level of intensity about you that,
Describe that. Tell me about my level of intensity.
Well, you were a very intense, focused person, and you learned from some of the masters, and you learned that if you emulated what they had and lived, that you could achieve it yourself, and you've proven it. And sometimes people don't realize the power of visualization, the power of meditation, the power of like believing in yourself long before you achieve it. And that was one of the things that always inspired me, is that it didn't matter. You could have had $2 in your pocket, but you always saw yourself as successful. Always saw yourself as achieving more. Mm-hmm. And I know you haven't always had it easy. I know you went through a couple rough patches, but you never lost that positivity. In fact, I remember I was going through a time when things weren't so great, and you and I were talking, and I was kind of dumping on you a little bit, and you put me in my place in a good way. You said, look, you go, this is why I surround myself with positive people. And you didn't say it in a way to hurt me. You said it in a way to kind of snap me out of it, and made me realize, wow, that I don't want to be that person who's bringing other people down. I want to be that person who's lifting other people up. And it's amazing what you've accomplished, because you saw yourself doing it long before you did it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Paul, thanks for that, man. I really appreciate that. And
you can pick up the tab when you come to town, but otherwise.
That's something I envisioned a long time ago.
Yeah. It's like, how can I screw Paul over? Oh, yeah, I see it. I see it happening.
And no, and everything you said is so true. You know what? You know one thing I say today, Paul, is I'm so glad I was gullible back then when I was 17, 18, 19. I was completely gullible to believe everything I read. And I just thank God it wasn't Harry Potter books. It was Tony Robbins, Rich Dad Education, Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Cash Flow Quadrant, and so on and so forth. It was Jim Rohn. It was just books that I just completely believed everything they said. And I said, okay, if they're telling me to do this and I'm going to get this result, then I'm going to do it. And that's what I did. And I think the biggest thing is just that time conundrum, right? It's the whole thing about time. And when you get beat up sometimes, not beat up physically, but beat up mentally, it's what you do with those emotions, man, that makes all the I feel like it makes all the difference. And COVID is another one of those experiences on a whole nother level. Business-wise, like, are things going to get better? A lot of people right now are like stuck in fear, like what's going to happen next? Am I going to either have a job, or I just got fired, or lay off, or am I going to get new clients? All that kind of stuff. It's just in that moment. So, Paul, I'd love to know what you have been doing and what your mindset has been as I believe you have a new company, you're working on some stuff. I'd love to hear about it, really.
Well, let me step back and say something before I go there, because you said that it's too bad you weren't reading Harry Potter books. But just think, you could be flying on a broomstick playing Quidditch right now if you had been reading Harry Potter. Well, say what you want. I think you made a mistake there, personally.
What's that? Say it again.
I said, say what you want, but I think you made a mistake there, personally.
That's funny, man.
No, it's interesting. So I got divorced, it's going on 3.5 years ago. And I was in a tough situation in that marriage. And then getting out of it, it became tough emotionally. I went through a period of depression and anxiety, and it really took a toll on my business and my mindset. And, all these lessons that I learned around you, and, I've read a lot of those same books, and I've tried to live my life that way. It's amazing when you're feeling down or you're feeling lost, how you lose sight of those things sometimes. And, I remember Tony Robbins talking about when he was at a low point. I think he even was really depressed, and he was living in a 1-bedroom apartment, and he'd been studying all this self-help stuff. And a friend of his came and says, hey, what's going on with you? You know how to do all this stuff. He goes, well, that stuff doesn't work. It doesn't work because at the moment he was really down on himself, and he had lost sight of all those things that he knows how to do. He knows they work. But sometimes when we're feeling down about ourselves or down about our life, there's almost a therapeutic side to feeling sorry for yourself. You ever had those moments where, maybe somebody breaks up with you, and you almost have this sense of security and being able to, woe is me. And we see it on Facebook. There's people that'll post their whole life story when things aren't going well, and they're looking for that sympathy. It gives them significance to be that person who's the victim.
Yeah.
So I spent plenty of time over the last 3 years playing the victim internally, and it took a toll on my business and my mindset. But I really started to rebuild. I mean, I'm blessed to have an amazing girlfriend. I'm blessed to have 2 kids that are just, I love them to death, but they lift me up, and
That's awesome.
they believe in me. It's amazing how people believe in you when you don't believe in yourself, right? And I've got friends.
God, that's so true. That's so true.
So I spent the last few months really on a journey of trying to figure out where I wanted to go with my business. Things were going much better, and then COVID-19 hits, the quarantine hits.
Yeah.
And I have a digital marketing business that I work with a lot of small companies, which you'd think now would be a great time for them, but every one of them was in that fear mode. And so all of my clients overnight went from paying their bills to saying, hey, you know what, we need time.
Right.
So I was really in the process of kind of seeking what's next. And a couple of years ago, I was approached by somebody that was starting a community for for CEOs and executives called CEO Crossing. And he goes, look, Paul, I really have this vision. I've got this community I'm working on, but I need help. And he goes, in fact, if you want, I'll turn it over to you. You can build it and and do what you want with it, because he had kind of lost momentum himself, and he was a hit. And I said, nah, it's not the right time for me, not the right time for me. And so fast forward a couple of years, he's still working on it and has built some amazing partnerships and was getting ready to launch this. And he says, Paul, I really want you to come on. Now, for your listeners that may not know, I hosted a top 10 business podcast show called Boss Academy Radio that when I got divorced, I put that on hold along with a lot of other things. And I always regretted that, because Boss Academy was my opportunity to help others and give back, and CEOs and help executives that were struggling. And so all of a sudden, I just had this overwhelming feeling that I had to say yes. And so before I did, though, I talked to one of my mentors, and I ran the idea about him, and instantly he stopped me. He says, Paul, he says, you've got to do this. And he goes, it's a perfect fit. And he goes, I actually have some resources I can bring to the table to help you guys grow this very quickly. And I said, okay, great. So I called my friend back and I said, let's do it. I'm in. And so we started building out and recently launched CEO Crossing. It's at ceocrossing.org. And it's a community for business owners, CEOs, executives that are really trying to take their business to the next level. They're trying to cross over. We're bringing some amazing partnerships. We've actually got some partnership relationships that bring education and exclusive offers that you can't get elsewhere. It's a community for fellowship and, sharing ideas. And, our goal is to have people feel that they can come in and check their ego at the door and really help each other, but also get help themselves.
Right.
So, yeah, and it's amazing. It's like I was kind of at a point where in my own business, I won't say I fell out of love with it, but I really wasn't enjoying what I was doing. And now I feel so reinvigorated because I'm on a path where it's more in line with what I've been wanting to do for many years.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's so timely, Paul, because it's so interesting we're having this conversation today. Well, it's interesting, but you know how our life is, right? It's always like we come back at these certain times. So two business partners of mine, we're starting a digital marketing mastermind. Marketing mastermind. I wouldn't just say digital, but just say a marketing mastermind. And and we kind of have, like, I love what you said. It's like you said, check your ego at the door, and it's a place where you're not just like talking business, like everyone's going to talk about their business, but it's also about a way you can build yourself up as well, personally and mentally. So I really like that, man. We should talk about continue the conversation about this even more. We're at the beginner stages, though. I mean, we're right at a point where we are at a point where we're coming up with a name and stuff, but we definitely know the structure. So yeah, we could definitely share some ideas. Where do you see this going? Who does it help, by the way? Let's start there.
Yeah.
Who does this
so
help?
We're targeting several areas. So some of the profiles are more specific in nature, but generally we're targeting those small business owners under $50 million in revenue. Okay. When you get over $50 million, I mean, I realize that small business goes on up to 500 employees, which is really kind of ridiculous, because once you get to 500 employees, you're not a small business.
Right,
but
correct. Yeah.
That's how it's defined. But we think $50 million in revenue and under are the people that they're looking for resources. They're looking for support. Right. They don't have their own coaches. They don't have their own means of growing beyond their own, their own self. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's a big area where there's a great need, because as well as I do, a W-2 wage earner cannot relate to the challenges of somebody running their own business. No. And a lot of our friends are employees. And so, you might go to them and say, hey, I'm facing this challenge. They go, wow, that's really hard. But they don't know how to relate. Right. We're trying to help alleviate that stress and tension that a lot of people face, those sleepless nights, those, worrisome moments, by giving a resource where people can come in. And look, I've got relationships in small business funding space that we're bringing to the table, education, masterminds, and a lot of other avenues that allow people to really open up in a trusted manner. So another area is we really are committed to the startup space. So once again, startups. Now, startups a different animal in its own self. So depending on the size, but we're targeting once again those $50 million and under. And we're trying to avoid pre-IPO and IPO
Okay.
startups because anybody that's publicly traded has a different level of need and a different level of resources. And quite frankly, publicly traded companies, no offense to anybody who might be listening, there's a level of insanity that goes on at the end of a quarter or even mid-quarter when you're below target.
That's so true.
And they don't answer to the clients the way that they should at times. They answer to the shareholders.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so
when you have shareholders involved, it's funny because I'm going through a situation right now. I'm on a project, real estate, but there's still shareholders, and it comes to a point where it's like, okay, I have to not appease, or you have to make adjustments in your decision making to make sure that you are going to make those shareholders happy, because otherwise they will take their funds elsewhere, right? They can leave if they wanted to, depending on the structure and what's happening in the deal. But yeah, it's really unique, and I love how you said that. Let me ask you this, because I love how you said it's like people can come and get support. Is it specific industry, or is it for the position, like CEOs of the business?
Yeah. Well, so our thought process is, especially in the early days, we have the luxury of, I guess, throwing as much mud at the fence to see what sticks. And I say that not saying we're going in blindly, but to be honest with you, we need to find that sweet spot. We have our ideas of some of those areas. I mean, we think there's some smaller technology startups that are going to be a fit. I'm a big fan of supply chain, e-commerce, retail, those types of companies, because they face a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
But the idea that we have is we're going to broaden the membership in the beginning and then build segmented groups within.
Okay.
And eventually start to silo people into groups based off of industry.
It's really smart.
Yeah, and eventually it may become extremely specialized, but we can't afford to do that day one without really limiting our potential.
Yeah, that's really smart. I like how you would segment it, because there may be people, certain conversations don't apply to them, and you can have multiple groups. I'm thinking in my head, if I break down, are you thinking of subgroups based on director of department, like department heads of that department? Is that how you break it down?
We're being pretty specific on how we're recruiting and driving members. If you're not a CEO, an owner, a partner, or some sort of ownership level title, you're probably not going to get into the community.
Okay.
So I don't want to be in a situation where I'm trying to help a manager or a supervisor succeed when I'm over here trying to help a CEO succeed. We want to be very specific to the brand and to the culture we're going to try and create.
True. That's great.
And guess who's going to come on and maybe even do a mastermind class for us? And Joe Bovino.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's been practicing law again for several years, and so he's going to come and talk about some legal aspects that business owners face.
Oh, that's fantastic. I haven't talked to him in a while. I knew he went back to law because we had a messenger conversation, I think maybe just a few years ago, but he said he was transitioning. But I haven't heard about what's been going on with his books recently. I mean, the books are, unique and awesome. Yeah. I'll have to catch back up with him. And Jimmy as well. I haven't chatted with Jimmy in a while.
I haven't either. There's another guy I need to reach out to.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, cool, man. This project sounds awesome. It really does. There's definitely a need for it. I like what you said about how it's very specific people, because then it can become relatable. And I keep thinking I have some resources. I always think of like, what could I send you as a resource? I could only send you resources in my niche, but are of that. Like, I think there's one. Have you heard of C12?
I have not, but you're definitely one of the first people I wanted to talk to about. I think real estate is definitely a specific niche where we think there's a need. I mean, you think about realtors. Now, realtors not exactly, most of them are not considered CEOs, but a lot of them are business owners, and I wouldn't want to be a realtor right now in this environment, and especially in a lot of markets.
Yeah, it's a very, like, for example, even here, all the realtors haven't been working for over 2 months. So
Where are you now?
right now I'm on the islands. I'm in the Azores, Portugal.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we've been on lockdown for over 70 days. So they're basically not gonna get any business for at least 3 months, 90 days, 3 months. You know,
Yeah.
it's and I've talked to a few realtors already here, and they're just like, oh, we're not gonna start work until probably 2 or 3 months from now, from this month. So
Crazy.
yeah, being
Joy tired of seeing you yet?
so you say it again?
Is Joy tired of seeing you yet?
I hope not.
You're bringing Joy pain.
I'm bringing Joy pain. Yeah.
Tell her hi for me, please.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because my business, Cellian's, the digital marketing agency.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not shutting that down right now because it's obviously what's paid the bills for years. And even though it's been rough during COVID and even building up to COVID, I had some challenges. You know, there's still a need with the digital marketing, and plus it's an asset that really helps us in our community too. So
Yeah.
so I'm wearing a couple different hats right now, but that's just part of the game. And
Yeah.
and it's funny because it's been so long since I've worked those startup grind hours like I have been recently, and it's like you forget how much fun it is, but how much sleep deprivation there is when you're starting something new.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can totally relate to that. But sometimes I think it's also the excitement of it. You know, the
It
excitement
is.
just wants to keep you going. You know, and that's like right now one of my hardest. I don't want to say my hardest transitions is like one of the things I definitely try not to do at all is my computer sits at my office, and so when I go home, it's like I don't even touch a computer or a phone or anything like that. It's just like
Yeah.
the focus of attention, right? So that's just like it just stops the urge of me like, oh, okay, I saw my kids for an hour, let me jump back online and let me go do that. You know, I'm trying to get that balance, that work-life balance, because I know years ago it was just like, it just didn't end. It was just constant.
Sure.
Yeah, so just trying to add that element to my life. I know you're a professional at it because you got two great kids. How are your kids, by the way?
They're amazing. It's like I think kids are so resilient, but I will tell you that they even have their breaking points. And during this quarantine, they're brother sister 2 years apart, so they fight anyway. But when they're basically in the same house every day, 24 hours a day, day in and day out, it gets hard. So we try and get them out, and at their mom's house, they've been going for bike rides, and over here they go jump on the trampoline and break up the monotony. My son's into parkour, and he's amazing. He's 11 years old, and it's incredible. We put together a video for a talent show for his school that was just awesome, of him doing flips and jumps down at one of the parks that was actually open, called the Water Gardens here in Fort Worth. And so it's amazing to see. He's fearless, and it's like I see him do some of these things. I'm like, oh man, I wish I could do that. He wants me to do it, but I'm like, dude, when you fall, you bounce. When I fall, I break. So
yeah, exactly.
I'll be your biggest fan and your videographer, but that's about as far as it goes.
Whenever I hear the word parkour, all I think is The Office, the episode
Office.
where they do
parkour. Yeah, exactly. That's a great episode.
I love that episode. It's so funny.
He started watching The Office, and and I was all for it because I thought, oh yeah, The Office, that's funny, and it's primetime TV. It'll be fine for him to watch. And then the first episode, Holly goes, I don't know if this is really kid friendly, but but he loves the show, and so he's seen the clip from that episode, and he wants to watch that episode so bad, the parkour one.
It is a funny episode. I was sharing earlier how that whole show, I just keep watching it. It's so great. It's funny in itself.
It's amazing. And even though Michael Scott's character is so idiotic, you can learn a lot about business from that show, because you see things that you shouldn't be doing, things that don't work, and understanding a company culture and how, I remember what was the sensitivity training?
Oh yeah.
Or no, diversity training. This guy comes in to teach diversity, and turns out Michael Scott's the only reason that they were doing the diversity training. So
it reminds me of, I've had many of those moments. Sometimes I can feel totally relatable to Michael Scott, because there's moments that I've said like things like that, and I'm like, can't we just have our freedom? But
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
my goodness. Paul, I want to put your link of what you're working on in the description, so I will make sure to do that after the show. But I also, in conclusion, I wanted to ask you,
Me dinner.
What's that?
Buy me dinner.
Buy your dinner, yeah.
Hey, who out there thinks that Nathan should send me a gift certificate to free me? I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
Everybody's be like,
yes.
Well, I'm gonna make it even better.
More
I'm gonna
Portuguese
make it even better. I'm gonna make it even better.
All right, awesome.
I want you and your girlfriend, or even if your kids want to come, it's up to you. You guys come here, and I'll make it even better. Don't even get your flights and all that, and I'll get you here. You're not gonna stay here because no, you can't stay here. It's too small. But I'll definitely get you accommodated, man. It'd be great.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. We'll have to make that happen. I'd love to see you again anyway. Are you staying in Portugal for now?
Yeah, so we're here right now. We've been here since November, and I'm currently working on a real estate project and finishing up some citizenships. But the real estate project is literally about 5 minutes away from here. And so I work that a few hours a day. It's a lot of stuff going on with that, items coming in, items going out, a little bit of construction work. And then the rest of the time, my other real estate investing business in the United States, as well as consulting with my clients. So, yeah.
And so you're not doing anything in Kampala anymore?
We still have Wakanda properties. So we still have Wakanda properties. We were doing short-term rentals. We have some land, but we were doing short-term rentals, and those completely got wiped out. So what we did was we changed the short-term rentals into long-term rentals, and we still have one more to go, actually. Oh, no, we have two right now. The other one just became available. So we have two right now that are empty, and we need to fill them up with long-term tenants.
What's your boy Paul doing?
Say it again?
What's your boy Paul doing?
My boy Paul?
Over in Uganda.
Paul, wait, Paul.
Oh, I thought maybe his name wasn't Paul. I thought it was Paul. Oh my gosh. Right. Ignore my question then. Because
Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. I was going to say, I was like, wait, you probably had the name right. I just wasn't thinking of it. Yeah, he's doing good. He's actually he's a teacher now in film in the school that he learned from. So he was in like journalism school, and now he's a teacher in that school. So the administration, the owner of the school, brought him in as a teacher. He was in the field a lot, but then he came back as a teacher. So now he's teaching the students on videography and stuff. So it's been really cool. He has his own business too. It's a videography business. So he's doing weddings and stuff like that. Yeah.
I knew he was a grinder.
Yeah, he's definitely a hustler. There's no doubt about that. His whole family is a hustler. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's good stuff. All right, man. Any last words about? I want to just wrap it up with your. Sorry, can you state the website again? So I want to make sure everybody has it. I will post it in there.
CEOcrossing.org is where you can go out and apply and learn more. Nathan, I just want to say, I know I gave you a hard time about the meal and other stuff throughout our relationship, but for anybody that follows you. And people are watching you today. I don't know how many of them know you personally or know what you're all about, but you're one of the most, I guess, big picture, and you see things before you get them. And I think a lot of people can learn from that. And I hope that anybody that follows you just really stays tuned and follows what you're doing, because there's a lot of great takeaways. I mean, I follow you, and I don't always reach out and comment. But you inspire so many people. I don't think you realize the marks you leave behind you. So thank you.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. And you can just vend me some money over that. You just determine how much. There's more where that came from.
I could have vend you some money. Wait, but I don't have Venmo.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't.
I don't have Venmo. I'm still stuck in PayPal.
We can make that work.
We can make that happen. Paul, thanks so much for taking the time to be on the show today and share your updates. And we'll stay in touch, because I do have a few other questions outside of what we talked about today, but I'll chat you up and
please do.
Let's stay in touch.
And when you guys, when your friends get their group going with the marketing, I can introduce them some resources that'll help accelerate their
That
growth
would be
too. So
awesome. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm gonna email you 2 links to examples of what we're doing, and we're gonna like model that. And one of them you're familiar with, the Genius Network with Joe Polish, right? There's
yeah,
one specifically in the real estate investing world. I'll introduce you to that one. Then I'd love for you to like pick it apart and see what you think, and then we'll go
outstanding,
from there.
outstanding. Well,
Yeah,
hey, thanks so much, Nathan.
cool, man. Thanks for being on. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
All right, see ya. All right, guys, that was my good friend and buddy Paul Kirch. I will put the link in the description so you can get out after the live. I'll put his information and link in the description. That was really cool, by the way. And he had briefly told me about what he was working on, and I was like, wow, that sounds really cool. And I love how he's serving a market that is in need of those kinds of things, because it's kind of interesting. I've worked both in corporate and in small business. My time frame in corporate was very small, and I've been a headhunter before, so I know how to recruit people and get people from corporate. It's kind of very simple. It's just money. No, but there's more than that. But you get my point. And what he's doing for that niche, that industry, is helping small business owners, okay, or in that revenue range, really help them get support and the tools and resources that they need, because it's really important to have. And sometimes you can just be lost and you need direction. You need that outside insight to help you make your next move or decision. And that's so true in business. That's why mentorship and coaching is so valuable. You know, going through a physical home study course, listening to audio CDs, like just taking in education is okay. Like you should. However, you have to stop at some point. You can't over educate yourself. And some people will think like, well, I'll just educate myself forever and I always need to learn. No. You need to learn something and apply. You need to learn how to make mistakes. You need to learn how to fail. You need to learn how to fearlessly fail. And there's a book out there called Failing Forward, because a failure is not doesn't mean you're bad, doesn't mean it's the worst thing. It's progress. Failure is progress. Unfortunately, in school, we are not taught that at all. We are taught that failure means you're a loser. And all my life, the majority of my life, even in college, I was a failure. I failed a lot through school. My GPA was very low, but in my intellect was on another level. My teachers would assign me classes. One of my teachers hired me in her marketing company. She asked no one else but me to be hired in her marketing company, and I hadn't even graduated yet. So the reality is, I learned at a younger age that my failure was being based on a test that I couldn't understand, I couldn't grasp, I couldn't pass what they wanted, but I excelled in other areas. And it's going to be the same for you. Don't look at failure like it means you're not worth it, or you're a loser, or it's never going to work out for you. No, just zig and zag. You know, success is not a straight road. It's a bunch of ziggity zags. That's what it is. And you will get there if you have a big enough reason why, and you continue to, every day you push towards that goal and that dream that you have. And you got to live fearlessly. That's one of the most important things. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining in. Also, hanging in there with us. This was an extra hour of training here and interviews. I know we had a little bumpy patch there in the middle, but I am so glad we were able to get Paul here and share his insight. And guys, I think I gotta do something really big for Paul. He's been a great friend all these years. He really is. And so check him out. I'll post the link in the description. And we're gonna be here same time, same place tomorrow. It's going to be 11 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Same time, same place. And then next week, we're going to make sure we get Sarah on here. That way we can do her interview and she can share as a real estate agent and what she's discovering and doing in this time of crisis. All right, guys,